All right, let's jump in a time machine and set the dial way back to the year 1524. We're going to figure out how people partied, how they celebrated, and how they danced, all before electricity or smartphones were even a glimmer of an idea.
I mean, really think about it. For us, a party starts when you hit play on a playlist. But 500 years ago, if you wanted music, you needed actual live musicians. And if you wanted to dance, you had to know the moves. So, how on earth did they do it?
So first things first, where did all this go down? You needed a place to party, right? And back in the Renaissance, the ultimate spot was inside the huge, grand royal courts of Europe. Okay, so just picture it. You walk into this massive hall. Maybe the ceiling is 50 feet high, and the whole place is glowing from the light of hundreds and hundreds of candles. The party gets started with a huge announcement, a blast of sound from trumpets and drums. Yeah, this was no casual get-together. This was a serious event where every single move was planned out and performed with total precision.
Now what about the music? The Renaissance playlist wasn't just a random mix of songs. Oh no, it was designed to take you on a ride, moving back and forth between these slow, graceful dances and then these really wild, energetic ones.
The two biggest hits of the time were complete opposites. On one hand, you had the pavane. It was slow, it was serious, and it was the perfect chance to just glide across the floor and show off your fancy, expensive clothes. But then, the band would switch it up and bust out a galliard. This was fast, super athletic, full of hops and leaps. This was where you showed off your stamina and skill.
Another really popular style was the basse danse, which literally just means low dance. And the name pretty much says it all. Your feet stayed low to the ground, just gliding across the floor. This wasn't about big, flashy moves. It was all about grace and dignity, and it was seen as the classiest dance you could do.
And you know what? These dances took some serious endurance. Can you imagine doing a slow, controlled, perfect dance for up to 5 minutes straight? It was a major workout, all while you had to look totally calm and graceful.
And just to give you an idea of how popular the energetic dances were, the galliard was a personal favorite of Queen Elizabeth I. Yep, even the Queen of England loved its fast, exciting vibe.
The galliard was based on a pattern of 5 steps, which is actually why the English nicknamed it the syncopes. And for the men, this was their moment to shine. It was a chance to throw in some really impressive leaps and kicks to show just how strong and agile they were.
Okay, but all this dancing needs a soundtrack, so who is the live band pumping out these Renaissance hits? Let's take a look.
Well, the proper term for a band back then was a consort, and they came in 2 flavors. You had a whole consort, which meant all the instruments from the same family, like a bunch of different sized recorders playing together. Then you had a broken consort, which was more of a mix-and-match situation, combining instruments from different families, like maybe a lute, a flute, and a viol.
The lute was basically the guitar of the era. It could handle both the melody and the chords. Recorders gave everything that light, airy woodwind sound. Viols, which kind of looked like early violins, carried the string parts. And holding it all together, keeping everyone on beat, was the tabor, a small drum that provided that crucial rhythm.
All right, now this is where it gets really fascinating. Dancing in the Renaissance wasn't just about cutting loose and having fun. It was a high-stakes social game, and how well you played could literally change your life.
Being a good dancer was like having a killer resume today. It instantly told everybody watching that you were educated, you were disciplined, and you were coordinated. If you were clumsy on the dance floor, people assumed you had a bad upbringing. But if you were graceful, it signaled that you came from high society.
So, to win at this social game, you had to follow the rules. First, you'd hire a professional dance master to give you lessons. You'd practice your posture for hours. And why all the effort? Because the ballroom was basically the marriage market. A good dance partner could easily become a life partner, and if you impressed the right family with your moves, you could raise your social status in a huge way.
And here's the cool part. For the very first time, this music wasn't just for the super wealthy. Thanks to the invention of the printing press, books of dance music started getting published. This was a total game changer, because it meant that even regular amateur musicians could buy the sheet music and play all the latest hits at their own parties at home.
So, the parties eventually ended. The candles burned out, and the styles changed. What happened to all this incredible music? Well, its influence is actually still all around us.
The biggest change was that music made for dancers slowly turned into music made for listeners.
Composers started writing more complicated stuff, and by the next big musical period, the Baroque era, people were sitting down in concert halls just to listen to collections of dance tunes, not to actually dance to them.
And we still see that legacy today. The idea of a classical suite, a collection of short musical pieces, comes directly from this tradition of pairing different dances together. A lot of European folk dances have their roots in these Renaissance steps, and you can still go to festivals and hear people playing this music on historical instruments, bringing the sound of the 1500s right back to life.
And all this leaves us with one final thought. We look back 500 years and study their party music as history. So fast forward to the year 2524, what songs from our time do you think people will be studying? What will our playlist say about us?